Hey, what's up guys? So we're here going over my Dusk Mage build. As I was live streaming and a lot of you guys had requested me to go ahead and make this video. This is going to be an earlier build on, it's still max level, but there are a few pieces of gear that we can go ahead and obtain to min-max this character a little bit more, and I'll go ahead and mention those when we go ahead and go over the itemization. But first off, I think the most important thing is to go ahead and check out the gameplay, so let's go ahead and hop right into that. I have a little gold map that we can go ahead and do and kind of check out. This is extra luck over here. Obviously this is going to be the endgame map system here, but the build is pretty fun. It's going along really well, and it's super fast. And that's one thing that I usually like to prioritize with my builds, is to be very, very fast. It doesn't really require any specific uniques. It helps out to have extra mana regeneration, as that obviously lets you go ahead and spam your abilities a little bit more frequently. But we'll go ahead and complete this, and I'll go ahead and explain how the build works. So pretty much what we're doing is our main source of damage is going to be Entropy. This is basically like Frozen Orb if you've played Diablo 2 or 3 technically. But in addition to that, we also need some form to build light, and we're going to be using Light Spear. The reason why I like Light Spear is it hits really hard and it costs no mana. That is the most important thing with this. We'll go ahead and we're just going to go ahead and clear out the area, and we'll go ahead and go over kind of how the build works. So pretty much this is our main source of damage. Damnation is usually only used for elite packs, so when elite pack comes up, I'll use it generally for the damage reduction, but also grants us extra mana. And then pretty much we'll use our Cloak of Flames and keep that up the whole time. We'll actually have to eliminate these guys up over here. So we'll go ahead and just clean up the map, and basically what we do is we use Shadow Step and Luminous Run for our mobility, but it also is our source of mana. That's how we're able to gain our mana back very, very fast. As if we use any skill with a cooldown, with the exception of Light Spear. Unfortunately that doesn't work. Even though it has a cooldown, it just doesn't work in the game. So once we see an elite, we want to go ahead and pop the Damnation just to have some damage reduction. And then Cloak of Flames, we pretty much get to upkeep 100% of the time, as that will be our source of building up our ultimate as well. We'll go ahead and delete that elite real quick. We're almost done, then we'll go ahead and fight the boss. Basically, just like every build, you try to build up your ultimate and we have it ready to go. So when we do fight the boss, we can use that. But also, we want to try to build up with Light Spear. Ideally, we get that right before the boss as well. But sometimes the levels can be kind of long, and you might want to just go ahead and save your Light Spear, as you don't want to activate the Dusk Mage's passive where you get light and dark at the same time, because you want to save that specifically for the boss. Now with our little Cloak of Flames, one thing important to mention with this build is you do not actually have to hit them with the Cloak of Flames. Like, you don't need to be in the little AoE to get massive amount of damage, because what we're basically utilizing it for is not necessarily just for the little AoE damage that it does. It's nice and it still helps out, but the main reason why we go ahead and actually use that is because it just provides a overall damage buff for our character. So we'll go ahead and eliminate these guys. And what we want to try to do is get our well, it's technically part of the system over here. We want to get this up pretty high, so when we go ahead and fight the boss, this will be basically ready to go. So pretty much within 1 or 2 more activations of our Light Spear, we'll be able to go ahead and proc that bonus that we get with the extra mana and the extra damage. So now we're coming up to the boss over here. So again, you want to make sure that you have, for the boss, you have Summoning Smash ready to go and Light Spears ready to go, so you can go ahead and activate this, and this is what's going to let you go ahead and melt the boss very fast. So let's go ahead and hop right in. And then we also have Nimble Flames, which we can activate during situations where we basically take any form of damage over here. But yeah, it's very fast build. Obviously, I'm kind of explaining things, so the run will be like not super fast, but basically just go ahead and activate everything and get all your damage in. And you'll see that once the bars start to drain, that's when we have our massive damage buff, and we'll be able to melt things very fast. And we still have a lot more min-maxing to do, but I know a lot of you guys were like, yo, can you show me the build for this? I really like it. Because you see how fast it is. Like, we can go through stuff very fast. It's just that I'm kind of explaining stuff, so I did a little bit slower here. Okay, there we go. So we got some legendaries. And let's go ahead and go right back into town, and then let's go ahead and go over in depth on what we are looking for our pieces of gear. So go right back over to the fort. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and hop right into the skill points as well as what we're trying to get on our pieces of gear. Keep in mind, you don't have to have the exact pieces of gear I have. There are no legendary requirements for this build to actually be played. I'm missing one piece of gear that I think is really good and will take this build to the next level, and it will actually grant us an extra skill point. We will eventually drop Light Spear, and I'll mention the legendary once I go ahead and hop right into that. But I want to mention that you will have to have a source of light and dark damage for any Dusk Mage build, as building up the harmonic forming significantly increases your damage and mana regeneration. But the reason why I like Light Spear right now is because it does not cost any mana, and it still does a good amount of damage, because I've seen some people when they do light and dark builds, because you have to basically have one source of light damage, one source of dark damage, is that one of them kind of suffers from some sort of damage, but Light Spear hits for an insane amount of damage. The only problem is that it has these charges. You can't just spam it over and over because it doesn't require any mana. But that's why I like this skill a lot. Eventually, though, we will be able to drop Light Spear completely for a legendary that works with Luminous Run, granting us a huge damage when we use Luminous Run, which I cannot wait to get. But again, this build does not require any of the gear pieces that I'm going to mention. But I also want to mention real quick that we will have a +2 to light and dark skills. So if you see something that says 8 skill points into it, and then you see that mine says that we also have the tier 3 bonus, like it's highlighted, the reason why is because I have +2 to all skills. So if you don't happen to have this thing maxed out, like you only have 8 skill points into it and you don't have the tier 3 bonus, put the extra 2 skill points into this, as it's really, really good. I'll mention some other things that you can take stat points out of if you don't meet these thresholds, as getting that tier 3 bonus is really important, especially for any gameplay mechanic where you simply just don't want to dodge, or if you want to face tank the boss, you can Luminous Run, sit in front of them and just kind of spam, and then activate Luminous Run again. Because of the tier 3 bonus making you immune to damage for 1 second. We also, with the tier 1 bonus, have a heal that heals us for 25% of our total health. That's really strong because what we're trying to look for on our pieces of gear is health wherever we can roll health. Ideally, we want to try to get health over anything else. The reason why is because health is obviously good in an action RPG because that's your source of how you survive. But also if you get like plus to, let's say, poison resistance or whatever, that's still okay. But the thing is that this heals us for a percentage, so it gives us more value when we try to prioritize health on our pieces of gear. So that's Luminous Run over here. And also is our source of mana, which I'll get into once we get into the gear. But yeah, so on the light page, literally 1 point into Light Spear, then 10 points into Luminous Run. I know I have 8, but again, it's because I have +2 to all skills. Next up over here, I'm going to go into Dark first, and then we'll go ahead and go over the Relic, as this build, just like a lot of other builds in Torchlight, they won't require you to have that specific Relic. Some may, like in our case, we're running the Fire Relic, but if you happen to not have Fire, don't worry, this build still works. It just might not be as efficient in some departments. You might have more survivability, but less DPS. It's a give and take system. Anyways, so in the Dark category, we also have +2 to all skills. So one thing to mention that is very important, if you didn't know with Torchlight 3, the tier 2 bonus with this Unholy Bolt, you'll see I don't even have the skill equipped. I still get that +20 to dark skill damage. This is all of my dark skills get +20. I don't have to have it equipped. It's not just on this skill. It is just a flat, straight buff to everything in the dark department. So we go ahead and put 4 points into this, which counts as 6 points, which will grant us +20 skill damage. Then we have Shadow Step. It lets us gain extra mana. With this one, I do like having the extra charge, but if you have to sacrifice getting the tier 3 bonus, that's fine. You do want the tier 2 bonus. That's what allows you to sustain your mana. So that is Shadow Step. It's another way we actually gain mana, and I'll explain that in a moment when we go over the inventory. Then we also have Spirit Well. This, I have 1 point into it. It just helps out on boss mechanic just to go ahead and have these extra things just simply there. The reason why I like this a lot, and you can also get items that set like plus X amount to this skill. That's why you'll see that we have the tier 2 bonus, even though, well, we don't happen to actually have more than 1 skill point into it. But I don't really care too much about the pet damage. It's just 1 point into it so I can have minions. So if a boss targets one of the little guys or the enemies target little guys, it just helps out with survivability. I do like it quite a bit, but the damage is just like whatever with this. You don't have to put it. In fact, you can remove this completely if you want to. And then next up over here, we have the tier 2 bonus with the Damnation. This is the thing that's going to grant us extra mana. If you can't get the tier 2 bonus, sure, that's fine. Just get the tier 1 bonus because that's going to give you extra mana. Plus, I like it versus bosses because even though like Luminous Run helps out against bosses where you're immune to damage, this you activate so you can go ahead and make it so they deal 50% less damage. So just activate it during bosses, champions, elite packs. Use it for those reasons. And on top of that, I have extra Relic energy charge rate, which is nice for my build. But again, if you have to drop it because you don't have the +2 to all skills, this is something to drop. Next up, we have Entropy over here. So I maxed this out completely. So I'm not actually positive on this. Like this, you'll see that I have 10 points into. Even though the game is coded for, let's say, like a tier 3 bonus and like that's the max, I'm not sure if this actually internally can go past 10, if that makes any sense, because I have +2 to all skills. Apparently it does in the code, but it doesn't show. I don't know. This is something that I would consider in the I'm not positive category, as there's a lot of things with this game, since it is a new game, that things just interact weirdly or people don't know specifically if it works or not. You still, like, I could still remove 2 points and I'll still get the tier 3 bonus, but I'm not sure if putting the extra 2 skill points, even if it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, it still technically works, if that makes any sense. But if you want to just go ahead and put 8 points into it if you have +2 to all skills. But I maxed it out just in case it gives us extra bonus damage, as it is our main source of damage. So you'll see that it will go ahead and go a little bit longer and move slower, so therefore we're going to get lots of more projectiles coming out of the thing over here. And then on top of that, we get 10% crit chance for all of our dark skills, but it's pretty much just this. Yeah, it might work off other things, but just this is what we care about. And then we'll also have these dark explosions, but it costs more mana, but that's fine because a lot of things facilitate extra mana. And then for our Legendarium abilities. So I mentioned before, we will drop the spear when we get the head blast over here. Let me go ahead and actually show off this item, as it's very important for the build. Yeah, blast butt over here. So when we cast Luminous Run, we're going to create explosion dealing 600% weapon damage. That's an insane amount of damage. And eventually we drop spear because this is free. Then we'll have an extra skill point. I don't have this yet, obviously, otherwise I'd be using it. But that is an item that I would like to try to get. Wanderer's Hood you'll get for free. Quicksilver you'll also get for free when you just play the game. The only thing I'm running that you won't have at the start is the Celestial Boots. This is not absolutely required, but it does help out, as if we cast a cooldown skill, we're going to get mana infused for 3 seconds, restoring at 5% mana per second, and if we happen to have more pieces of the Celestial set, we'll get the bonus, so it restores twice as much mana. So to show off how this works, you'll see this little buff indication over here, and it will stack. It's this little crystal rod looking thing, and you can see this is what lets us spam over and over with our abilities. And then on top of that, we also have Damnation to get extra mana. And if there are enemies over here with Shadow Step, what we want to try to do is hit enemies at the starting location, and that will also grant us extra mana. And with the tier 2 bonus, we have 15% mana regen. So that's how we're able to sustain. This is a question that I get asked all the time when I'm playing. How do you just spam this because I'm running out of mana? Yeah, because in this game, you only get 12 mana. I don't think there's anything that increases like to maximum mana in this game. It's just your resource generation there. But that's how we're able to sustain over there. Now, moving into after Legendarium over here. Again, these two you'll get for free. And then this, if you have it, it's nice, but you can play without it. Play with whatever you want. If you get that other thing I mentioned before with the Luminous Run buff, where it's 600% damage, drop the spear, you should be good to go, unless they have changed the mechanics and it doesn't build up your light bar. But anyways, moving on to our Relic. This is something optional here. Again, you don't have to have this Relic, but I do really like fire. We have Ignition Source, that's extra burn and extra evasion. This is just a free passive over here. Then we have Magma Burst over here, so a chance on kill and critical hit to go ahead and do a 45% weapon damage. I love this thing. And then the main thing I really like with this, and the main thing that you want, is a tier 2 bonus Cloak of Flames. That's going to make it so it costs less, and we don't care about the radius. The only thing we care about with this, the radius is bugged, by the way. Like sometimes it like goes up and down. I don't know what causes the bug, by the way, but the main thing that's important is literally just activating it grants us 10% evasion and 25% more damage. So just keeping this up, excellent. Again, you don't have to hit them with the AoE, but if you do, awesome. And then I put 1 point into Nimble Flames, activate this during bosses. It just does AoE just damage around me. I can just activate it because it's free. It costs no relics. You see that we have 35. If I activate it here, it's just going to go and pulse and do some free damage and grant us extra survivability for a short duration. The main reason why I run it is because it's just an extra skill point that I didn't think was bad. Again, when we're on bosses or elites, 20% evasion chance, which is quite nice. And then Firestorm, you want at least 1 point into this. So when you hit a burning foe, there's a chance you'll drop a flaming destroy, dealing some fireball damage onto the enemy. And just put at least 1 point into it. You don't have to put 2. And then I maxed out Summoning Smash. So right now there is a thing that might not be intentional, as you guys might have seen from the gameplay. Those falling swords, not even when I'm activating, when I'm just using like Entropy over here or any skill that's doing damage, you'll see that these swords will come down even when I don't activate it. I just want the tier 1 bonus to have that falling sword damage. That's the only reason why I put 10 points into this. The rest of the things, yeah, it's cool. It does more damage when I activate it, so it's nice for boss melting. But the main reason why I love it is that tier 1 bonus for that 5% chance to summon a single falling sword on an enemy. Now that 4-second cooldown doesn't work properly. And I'm glad it doesn't, because it makes the build even better. But that's the main reason why I put all the points in it, because it does massive amount of damage. Even though it only says 5%, like, we're hitting the enemy so many times with this thing, like, because that explosion happens, it's just fantastic. And I'm not sure if that can proc off of, on hit of, let's say, the Magma Burst, or the Ignite ticks, or even the Firestorm. But I feel like it's really, really strong, and like I said, the cooldown might be for you, but it doesn't work on like the other things that are proccing in it. Again, if you watch some of the gameplay, if you watch the live stream, I was talking about this yesterday, like how insane that is. We were trying to theory craft on how it exactly works. Some people were saying it's 5% chance per enemy. Each enemy has an individual 5% chance on hit. I don't know how it works. All I know is that 4-second cooldown does not work properly, which is awesome. Next up, maxed out on Energizer. This is how we're able to go ahead and pretty much have your Cloak of Flames up the whole time. So it's basically flat, 25% extra damage. You can still gain energy from using your Cloak of Flames while it's up. I have a training dummy. Let me go ahead and move this out of the way over here so you guys can go ahead and see. So if I go ahead and activate this, you'll see it drains relatively fast. But if I'm hitting enemies, it will definitely drain a lot slower. You'll need more enemies to be hit, but basically having the extra generation is quite nice for this build. Now, in terms of the pieces of gear, what we're trying to go ahead and look for. So, again, you don't have to have these pieces of gear, but the important thing to do with your build is have at least one item, whether it's your main or your offhand, to have a chance to go ahead and burn the enemy. The reason why you want that is because with your build over here with the Legendarium, but if you're running like Ice, go ahead and try to get freeze chance. If you're running poison chance, you know, just whatever the case may be, because there's a lot of things that will proc, like for example, like this will proc if they are burning, or if this hits a burning foe, you'll have, like, let's say, a bonus. So whatever you're looking for, get that on your weapon, or again your offhand. You don't need both of them. One thing I want to go ahead and mention that's very important. So you'll see, where is it? Burn chance, we have 74%. If I move this shield, which has 48%, what's our burn chance right now? Our burn chance is 25 for our attack, and if we go ahead and equip this, it goes to 74. I want to mention, just a heads up, there is diminishing returns on the numbers in the game. Like once you get to a certain threshold on crit chance, I'm not sure if everything has it. Maybe attack speed might have some diminishing returns, but there are diminishing returns once you reach a certain threshold. But like anywhere above like 50 is pretty much ideal. Like you'll have like your flat 25 just because you put the points into it. But yeah, 25 plus this would be, I guess, yeah, it gives a 74% chance. So again, just try to meet over 50% chance, just because this attacks so many dang times anyways, because it's got the explosions and the little orbs that come out. It's going to keep them burned most of the time anyways. But yeah, just try to prioritize that. And on any of the pieces of gear that you can get, you want to go ahead and try to prioritize health over anything. Obviously, you can't get it on every single piece of gear, but if you can, try to get extra health over anything else, like a roll on it. Like for example, on my legendary chest piece over here, I happen to have the health roll on it because that's kind of better. Some of the pieces of gear, you'll notice that they aren't max level, but you can still do endgame content, even with certain lower level legendaries, because of what they might grant you. For us, I just want the +2 to the dark skills, which is nice. Again, my gear isn't super optimal over here. In fact, these gloves should really be replaced, but you know, RNG just didn't favor me. That's part of it. If you can get anything that grants you relic energy generation, that can be something to look forward to, as well as crit damage. That can be great, as well as any flat damage. This has extra crit hit chance, which is awesome over here. But the Celestial set is what I ideally want to go ahead and have all those pieces of the Celestial set, as that really helps out, and that's what we're looking for. In terms of the pet items, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. But if you happen to have an item that, let's say, has like plus bonus to crit chance against enemies that are frozen or electrocuted, or if they're bleeding, then like, yeah, you go ahead and, like, for example, this makes so the pet attacks cause burn. So if the enemy is burning, this helps out with my build over here, because the enemy is burning, therefore I will hit them and they're considered burning already. So that can be something to kind of look forward to. Like this one causes chill. Sometimes items will roll chill. There are also items that can roll with bonus damage % or flat damage, like on a chest piece or something. Try to look out for those as well. But again, the main stat in the defensive category that you're looking forward to on every single piece of gear that you can get is that bonus health. The reason why is because if you have more health, your Luminous Run will get more value, as it will heal for a percentage of your total health. And you'll have a lot of evade, hopefully, so you'll be able to survive as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the build, as well as the relics and everything else. But anyways, hopefully this guide video helped you guys out in case you wanted to build a Dusk Mage. And I'll do an updated video guide once I go ahead and max everything out. Again, you guys just requested for this build, and that's how we play it. But if there's anything in terms of room for improvement, definitely let me know in the comment section below, as I want to do like an updated video guide for the Dusk Mage build as we kind of progress in the game. Hopefully next Tuesday they will be rolling out that update that will increase our legendary drop chances and stuff like that. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you are new here and want to be seeing more Torchlight and other action RPG and more gaming stuff, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and you'll definitely see more very soon. But take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And I'm out. Peace.